So there really is no amount of money, as in no amount of money in terms of a lump sum that will make your life complete, or that might even make your life better. I mean, we all have this idea, don't we, that we're going to win the lottery at some point, or that we want to win the lottery at some point, want to, win it big on some sort of gambling competition, such as the lottery. And we think that this money is going to save our lives, right? We think we have the perfect plans of what to do with all the money, but we don't realize necessarily that yes, with more money often comes more problems, and we don't want to therefore or thereafter be in a situation whereby we fucking jack all the money up the wall, right? So, yeah, what are the hidden problems associated with, say, winning the lottery and having your perfect fantasy life? And it is the stuff that we don't really think about that we all know is there. Like, you can't just go out and buy a Ferrari, even if you're a lottery winner. If you've got £10 million in the bank, you might think you can buy a Ferrari with it. But think about that. Out of 10 million, like that's £250,000. And it is, I reckon, in most cases, even if the Ferrari costs like 150k. Like it's going to be like £250,000 in the first year, if not more than that. Because you've got to then take into consideration the fact you've got to tax it, insure it, fuel it, maintain it, which is really expensive, and all the hidden charges that you don't really think of as going into something like that. Likewise, if you want to buy a mansion, what do you need? Like, do you need like loads of money to begin with? Of course you do. But then, of course, you need to be able to maintain it and pay the council tax and pay all the electricity bills and the water and the heating and whatever. And then, yeah, and then live in it and then furnish it and keep all that up together, insure it, and then we're like, so like what you don't really want, you don't really want a large lump sum of money, I don't think, not in life. What you really want, you need a big income. That's what you really need. You need to have a big income somehow. If you want, well, I suppose that is a form of success, isn't it? Doctors have big incomes, that, but then again, that entails the life that we don't really want, doesn't it? That entails lots of working, which we don't want to do. So it's yeah, I mean that whether or not, whatever sort of big income you want, whatever sort of big salary you want, you're going to have to work hard and often for it. So yeah, I mean, I've gone through life thinking about the money problem quite a lot, and I've always wanted to be a writer and a stand-up comic, which is kind of a very big gamble, really, in terms of wanting an economically or financially secure future, since I might just be doing it on the road for most of the rest of my life, not really getting anywhere, or not even really making money with it. That's the other thing, because I mean, think, and again, like break down the comedian, actually the salary of the comedian. Because even if you've got big earnings, you've still got to take all the other stuff into consideration as well, right? Don't you? The insurance, the bills, the council tax, the mortgage on whatever big house it is that you have, and so on. Then with like the comedian lifestyle, which is the self-employed lifestyle, right? As a comedian, you've got if you're going on tour on the road, venue costs, staff at venues, ticketing. If you want to get the DVD release, you've got to pay everyone involved in producing that and selling it, and website hosting, so on. All the people you need with you to help you set up your shows, if you need roadies and so on, or something like that, or like stage hands to help you set up the stage if you're. So you end up in a situation that even if you're a successful comedian on the TV, have you like ever seen where someone like that lives? I'm not talking about necessarily like Ricky Gervais, because of course he'll live in like a gated community, I don't know, in some bit of London, in some extortionately expensive house, or Michael McIntyre will live in a mansion somewhere, I expect. But like less well-known comedians, even if they're on the telly, like might just live in a flat somewhere and live a relatively normal life. So it's what uh, what is the game? You know, what is the desirable thing? Is it prestige and renown and money, or is it something else? I suspect happiness can be found without money. Actually, I know it can be found without money. I know, like, I enjoy my humdrum little existence here very much. Indeed, I've got things in my life now. I've got a very sparsely furnished temporary accommodation flat, but nonetheless, I feel good about that. I feel good that I have my own little space. I've got some of my books around, not all of them, unfortunately. I've got a little plant here. Like, those things give me joy. And those things really can give you joy as well. It's a beautiful day outside. I've got birds singing outside my window. I can go and sit, in a park for a bit, or in nature somewhere and watch everything happen, watch the world go by. I can go on a nice long walk out in the countryside, do all these things that really do give me joy, that really do give me happiness. I gain a lot of pleasure from reading in my life. That's quite a big thing for me, particularly reading poetry. I love reading poems. I sound a bit like a serial killer then, I love reading poems. But anyway, yeah, I do, and like that gives me pleasure. So I've got in a large number of different ways of enjoying myself. That's a great thing to have in life. I value like the Epicurean ideal thing: good friends, good books, good food. Yes, I love food also. I love any opportunity to eat me some delicious food. That's that's always very well appreciated for me. Anyway, but like, and then there's work that I enjoy, and I have forms of work that I enjoy. I've got vocations that I enjoy. Stand-up comedy, I love that very much. I love performing. I love the process of writing for it, which is never ending because you're always looking for material. I love writing poetry. I love writing my novels. I love doing all these things. I love working on farms. That's something else I do with my time. And the only reason I do it, the only reason is because I enjoy doing it. I don't really do it for the money at all. Though I need the money to sort of sustain my life while I'm doing it. So it's good to have money coming in, granted. But no, you can live a very fine, happy, exquisite life with not a lot of money. And I'm doing it right now. I think my life is a fine and beautiful thing at the moment because it gives me joy. I mean, sure, I go through periods of stress, right, where I can't figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, usually in life in general. But really, like when it comes to figuring out what I should be doing in life in general, I have figured those things out already, and I'm making plans to try and achieve the things left that I want to achieve. And for some things, I need more money than other things. For instance, for writing the rest of my books, I don't think I'll need much money to do it because I just need a laptop, really, and a word processor to finish that stuff off. But then there's stuff like building rockets, which I will need a lot of money for one way or another. So I'll probably have to get into debt for it or get a very kind corporate sponsor at some point if I can. But yeah, some money is a means to an end in life. If you can figure out how to spend the money in a way that gives you joy and fulfillment, and for something that you think it is of value to you. One thing I really valued spending the money on was getting my own book published, Sergeant Arson. This is just a little novella that I wrote a few years ago, but I put my heart and soul into writing it, and I realised at some point that no one was going to publish it because it's too obscene and there's too much things like graphic sexual violence in it. But I thought it was a really amusing little story. I loved writing it to bits, and I thought I'd just get a few hundred copies printed, get an ISBN for it and everything else, get a copy put in the British Library, try sell it to friends or give copies away to friends, which I did quite a lot. Some of my friends were really nice about it on Amazon, gave me nice reviews for my book, and those things really give me happiness. They really make me feel happy. It's like, compliments as well. Compliments I get in life. When a compliment's good and sincere, it does make you feel really good. It does make me feel good. I love it. I love being complimented. And it does make you want to continue doing what you're doing. You think you're doing something of value, and yeah, I think I am doing something important with my time. Even though I'm obscure, right? Even though no one knows who I am, people don't know who I am yet. Van Gogh was obscure for his entire life. He only ever sold one painting. Shit. But money does not equal happiness. No. What does equal happiness? Is it fulfillment equals happiness? Finding things in life that fulfill you and that make you want, more of the same out of life, really. And I found it in the oddest places, like milking cows. That really gives me a sense of fulfillment. I think it's probably because I'm feeding people by doing that, and yeah, that makes me very happy. Hence, and writing, doing stand-up, making people laugh. If I can make people laugh on stage, which to some extent I usually can, then I feel amazing. I feel brilliant because that's probably the most direct feedback. I'm bringing joy to other people. I'm giving joy to people by being on stage, and that feels amazing to me. And yeah, I need that in my life. I'm pretty certain. So I am happy. I do manage to be happy. I'm on the verge of saying I've succeeded already. I suppose I have. I'm not going to give up writing a stand-up. So, what do I actually want other than those things? I guess I found it. I guess I figured my life out. And levels of fame or levels of renown and money, I understand that those are double-edged swords, or that those are desirable, but it might be fool's gold. You know what I mean? It might be a hollow sort of victory, or getting there may entail Pyrrhic victories, where you might get what you want, but your overheads have become too high that you instantly lose the money, or you've gotten into too much debt that you need to pay off because of some venture in, yes, you achieved the sort of success that you want, but then here comes reality to bite you, and you profited little as a result of your endeavours. There's that possibility as well. The world is very, very financially frightening. It's very, very hard to keep your rudder still in life. And, not to go, I want to go this way, this way, this way, this way. I don't want to go this way. And it's hard to maintain that straight course towards something. And I'm not on a strict course or something at all. I do many different things. I'm a person with a diverse array of abilities, I think, and preoccupations and things I do that I think are important, and skill sets and areas of understanding, should we say, or knowledge. So and I think a lot of those things, they could probably be monetized more effectively if I were to put my mind to it. And I could probably put out a lot more interesting and content if I had perhaps more organization to it, if I perhaps put more effort into things like YouTube and so on. But then again, I put so much effort into other things that I don't actually want to put more effort into YouTube. I do live a whole other life, usually writing and not doing YouTube as my profession. I never set out to be a YouTuber, it's just something I do on the side. Or something that's associated with the rest of what I do. It's like reporting on the rest of what I do. But it wasn't my intention to become a YouTuber, if you see what I mean. Then again, maybe I should have that as my intention. Or should I? I don't know. Is my personality too obnoxious? Am I too annoying? Or too hard to follow? That was obnoxious. Sorry. That was rude. Yeah. I'm quite rude sometimes. No, life is what you make it. No, it's not what it's what you make it, and it is what other people make it as well. If other people are making your life shitty, then it is their fault also. You know, you don't have to bear the sole burden of blame for everything that's gone wrong in your life. You surely couldn't be to blame. But not for everything that's gone wrong in your life anyway. Most people aren't. Most people, it's their parents to blame, at least to some extent. And I know it is in my case with the mental health problems that I've grown up having, but I do, achieve happiness and success. Maybe I've been successful as a comic. I'll always have that as a feather in my cap. I've been funny on stage, and I have been. People have witnessed it. Maybe not as funny as I could be often, or like sometimes underwhelming. But yeah, I think like I usually do okay-ish. And I will continue with stand-up. But I'm not going to think of it anymore in terms of where it might be leading. If you know what I mean, it's just, it always leads to the next gig, doesn't it? It always just leads to, a gig, a new experience. And each gig is a special thing in its own right. And there's some gigs that are, are doomed to fail and doomed to end in a bombing because it's like an open mic that's not a comedy night and it's a music thing. I'm not talking about the Bell, I'm talking more about Belushi's. That's a hard gig. But I mean, or like some of it's a watering hole that's been poisoned, if you know what I mean, and it's doomed to end in a bombing. But I don't know, like even like a very hard gig like the Belushi's open mic in Bath, yeah, you can salvage it to some extent. I think usually, just if you've got enough of a sense of humor about yourself, I think you'll be okay. But yeah, don't pursue money. Don't pursue money or status. Pursue. This is just the hackneyed oldest advice ever. Follow your passions. Whatever makes you passionate, whatever you think makes it worth getting out of bed in the morning, do those things. I think it's worth getting out of bed to farm, to write, to do stand up, to be a physicist, which is what I also try to be, and to try and build fusion reactors in space and those sorts of things. That's what fires me in the morning and lets me get on with my day. The prospect of those things. So yeah, try and do what makes you happy, i.e. what fulfills you, what leads to your fulfillment. And if you're stuck in a cubicle in the 9-to-5 job, chasing a pay packet or a promotion or this, that, and the other, or yet more money for whatever reason you want more money, be advised that, your home is also what you make it. Books are cheap. They provide a lot of enjoyment. They're beautiful objects to own. Plants are cheap. Plants are very cheap indeed. Or certain plants are very expensive, of course, like certain orchids are very expensive. But the overwhelming majority of plant life that you can purchase readily is rather cheap. These adorn your home. These make it beautiful. You don't need gold on the walls. You don't need a Ferrari in the driveway. You really don't. You don't need it. You don't need a swimming pool. You don't need all that other shit. You don't. And you can be perfectly happy. Like, what will make you happy or sad is what you choose to do with your time. And you can pursue fulfillment. And this is another thing I can't stand this. This is the false dichotomy between a life of happiness and a life of meaning. Like, let's say meaning means fulfillment. If you're pursuing something that fulfills you in life, you're aiming for happiness and meaning at the same time, which is perfectly fine. And it's the ideal. That's what we should be aiming for. Meaningful, happy lives. We can be ethically, we can resolve ourselves morally readily with what we're doing. We think that what we're doing is important for the world. We can think that we intend to bring better lives to people as a result of our having been alive. That future generations will benefit from us. That is fulfillment, and that is living a life of happiness and meaning. Because if you're really doing that, it will make you happy. Yes, it will. And I've been happy as a result of having lived that sort of life. And I'm happy now as a result of having lived that sort of life, or living that sort of life. So pursue that if you can. Yes, definitely. Do that.